Do you ever feel like you're always in motion but never getting anywhere? Super busy but not productive? Stretched too thin, exhausted, wondering, is this what life is all about? Or perhaps, where did my life go? If you do, or you're feeling that way right now, first things first, you're not alone. We've all been there in our lives at some point, including myself. And number two, there's hope. There's hope in the Making Hope Happen series. In today's video, we're going to take a deep dive into the need and power of making macro decisions, something we started to talk about yesterday in day 71 in the Making Hope Happen series, where we took a high-level look at 2 key decisions and 3 key disciplines that we'd be wise to develop and practice consistently if we want to improve or change our lives in any way, shape, or form. And I'd add, if we want to maintain any great goodness that we've created so far in our lives, the 2 decisions and the 3 disciplines are essential for you keeping those. Really quickly, the 2 key decisions are macro decisions and micro decisions. Now, macro decisions are big picture goals, focus, direction, and meaning for our lives. Micro decisions are those moment-to-moment decisions that we're making all day, every day. Do I say yes or no to this project, to this opportunity, or this event? Do I spend the day hiking or mindlessly scrolling through Facebook, maybe catching up with an old friend over coffee, or baking cookies for a cause I don't even care about? Now, the 3 key disciplines that we spoke about were reactive discipline, which is about having the discipline to show up as positive as we can to life, especially when life doesn't go our way. Then we have structural discipline, which is all about the daily habits and rituals that support and help us show up in life in a really positive way. And they align with our big picture dreams and goals and desires. And then we have expansive discipline. And this is about having the discipline and courage to stay open and curious to life when it feels scary and when it feels challenging. This is all about stepping forward into growth rather than back into safety. It's about stepping into the unknown when it would be a lot easier to go back into the status quo, back into our comfort zone. Today, our focus is on macro decisions. If we're feeling overwhelmed by life, busy and unproductive, exhausted and unfulfilled, more than likely it's because we have not explored and discerned what matters most to us. Who are we? What do we want to contribute to the world? What do we want to do with our lives? What do we want to experience? If we don't make time to explore and discern what matters most to us in our lives, we will always fill our time with the demands and the needs and the priorities of others. And as a reminder, not everyone has your best interest in mind. If we want to solve the problem of busy, exhausted, unfulfilled life, we need to decide what we want our lives to be about. We need to make big picture decisions for ourselves. To bring this idea of macro decisions to life, let's consider some real life exemplars, beginning with Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, and Mother Teresa. If these individuals hadn't developed and exercised their ability to discern the vital few from the trivial many, would the world have missed out on experiencing them living life at their fullest? They each had a ton of opportunities to do whatever it is that they wanted to do with their lives, but they each individually accepted the reality that they only have 24 hours in a day, roughly 70 to 80 years on the planet. And whether they knew it consciously or unconsciously, at some level, they knew they couldn't do everything with the same level of joy, intensity, and excellence that they wanted to. But they could do a few, the vital few, their own unique vital few. As such, they courageously made macro decisions. They cut off all other possibilities so they could live out their passions and interests, and in doing so, inspire and serve others in their own unique way. My question to you is, how will the world and the lives of those around you be better because you lived? A few more exemplars to get us inspired. What about Warren Buffett, Jerry Seinfeld, Lincoln, Will Smith, David Foster, Gandhi? Speaking of Gandhi, did you know he was a shy, timid little boy? He got married at the age of 13 and he was still scared of the dark. At 18, shortly after his first son was born, he sailed from Bombay to London to study law. And he was so bad at it that all the other lawyers constantly made fun of him. The first time that he represented someone in court, he was so afraid that he literally could not speak. and he had to hand the case over to another attorney and leave in shame. Eventually, Gandhi wound up in South Africa. A week after arriving there, he was thrown off the train after he refused to give up his first-class ticket and moved to the third-class car, which was reserved for Indians. That experience changed his life. In that moment, he discovered the big picture macro decision he needed to make. And from then on out, all of his micro decisions and his daily discipline started to take shape and align with his higher purpose and the meaning he decided to give to his life. Now, with this story, I'm not suggesting we all need a purpose like Gandhi, or that we need to be an all-star athlete or a writer or an artist or a comedian or anything like that. Rather, I share it to demonstrate the importance and the power of knowing who you are, what matters most to you, and the kind of contribution you would love to make with your one precious life. The reason we often feel exhausted and unfulfilled in our lives is because we're so busy pleasing everyone else that we haven't created the space to consider and develop our own unique talents and discover the impact that we want to have on the world and the kind of life we want to live. A life that we love and a life that makes us feel proud, like we made a difference. All of this talk about macro decisions, it reminds me of the Mark Twain quote that says, "The two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why." And how about this one from Howard Thurman? Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it, because what the world needs is people who have come alive. How about this one from Abraham Maslow? A musician must make music. An artist must paint. A poet must write if he is to be ultimately at peace with himself. What a man can be, he must be. All of which begs the question, why were you born? What makes you come alive? What must you do with this one precious life of yours? When it comes to a crossroad, which path has a heart? When you die, what do you hope people at your funeral will say about you? How do you want to feel most days you're alive? What if your future self wrote you a letter? What would it say? When you die, how will you know you have lived a good life? What do you see others doing that you wish you could do? What are your top 5 values, and are you living in integrity with them? What bucket list items are important to you? Here's a good one. When do you feel most like you're making a difference? What is one thing, if you never pursued, you'd always regret it? And finally, what lights you up? What energizes you and makes you feel 100% you? Viktor Frankl says, the meaning of life is to give life meaning. Our macro decisions give our life meaning and direction. So what's your Tom Brady football focus for your life? Is it being the best dad you can be for as long as you can? Awesome! Then what things do you need to start saying no to in order to ensure that you bring that Tom Brady focus and performance to being the dad you want to be? Perhaps building a life coach business is at the core of your essence of what you must do. Awesome! What do you need to start eliminating from your life to make sure that happens? Who do you need to be? What habits do you need to install or delete? Perhaps you want to travel more, help others travel more, hike mountains, make music, make people laugh, paint, cook, help people find their dream home or dream jobs, run for office, write, you name it. What must you do? Who must you be? What makes you come alive? Exploring and discerning what matters most to us, how we want to live our one precious life, and the kind of impact we want to have on the lives of those around us and the world at large is at the core of our macro decisions. Well, that's it for day 72, macro decisions. I hope you got some value today. If you did, give me a thumbs up and share this video with others you think would get value from it. And be sure to tune in tomorrow when we continue to explore decisions and disciplines. Until then, have fun pondering possibilities and getting clear on why you are here. Have an awesome night, and I'll see you tomorrow.